I torched my boss's Mercedes in the executive parking lot at dawn, watching the flames lick up the German engineering like it was kindling for my rage, all while sipping black coffee from a styrofoam cup I'd swiped from the break room on my way out. 24 years at Sterling and Knox, and they thought a pink slip and a security escort would erase me? That morning, as sirens wailed in the distance, I whispered to the inferno, "This is just the appetizer, Harlan." By noon, the clients I'd built fortunes for were calling, demanding answers, and Harlan's empire started crumbling faster than his alibis ever did. It wasn't always about fire, literal or otherwise. Back in '01, when I was Nova Hale, fresh-faced account exec clawing my way up from the mailroom, Sterling and Knox was the kind of Wall Street firm that made grown men weep with envy. Marble lobbies, power lunches at Delmonico's, and clients who treated you like family until the market dipped. I was the fixer, the one who remembered birthdays, smoothed over SEC filings, and turned whispers of scandal into press releases that smelled like roses. Harlan Knox? He was the golden boy, the heir apparent with the Ivy pedigree and the smile that could sell ice to penguins. We were partners once. Hell, more than that, in the blurry nights after board meetings when bourbon flowed like the Hudson. But betrayal doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It slithers in on a whisper. It started with the Voss account, that behemoth of hedge fund money from old man Voss himself, a grizzled vet who'd lost his son in Nam and trusted me with his life's work because I listened when no one else did. Voss was my white whale, the client who put my kids through college without me asking. Harlan knew it. He envied it. And when the '08 crash hit like a freight train, he saw his chance. I remember the night. Rain hammering the windows of our corner office, the kind of storm that floods the subways and makes you question your life choices. Harlan bursts in. "Ty Askew," eyes wild. "Nova, we got a problem. Voss's portfolio, it's underwater. Bad calls on subprime, and the board's sniffing around." I pulled all-nighters for weeks, rerouting funds, cooking books just enough to keep the lights on. Not fraud. Not really. Just creative accounting, the kind every firm does when the wolves are at the door. But Harlan? He pushed me further. "One more move, babe. Fudge the derivatives report. Sign it off as yours. I'll handle the fallout." I did it. For the firm. For him. For the promise he'd murmured in my ear that we'd run this place together someday. The report sailed through, Voss stayed loyal, and the crisis passed. But Harlan? He buried it. Shredded the originals, pinned a vague team effort on the success, and when audit time rolled around years later, he flipped the script. A whistleblower tip, anonymous, of course, pointed to irregularities in my signatures. My signatures. The board, those spineless suits who'd kiss Harlan's ring, called an emergency meeting. I walked into that room expecting a slap on the wrist. Instead, Harlan stood at the podium, face carved from granite, reading my termination like it was a eulogy. Nova Hale, effective immediately, for violations of fiduciary trust. The words hung there, thicker than the cigar smoke from the '90s. I laughed, actually laughed, because it was so absurd. 24 years, and this was my send-off? Security flanked me as I boxed my desk. Photos of my daughter Lila's graduation, the crystal decanter from Voss, a dog-eared copy of Liar's Poker. Harlan didn't meet my eyes. Cowards never do. That night, in my cramped Astoria apartment, rent skyrocketing while my severance evaporated, I sat on the fire escape, chain-smoking Camels and staring at the Manhattan skyline like it owed me answers. Betrayal isn't just a knife in the back. It's realizing the hand holding it was the one you held in the dark. Harlan hadn't just fired me. He'd erased me, rewritten our history, so I was the villain in his hero's journey. But secrets have a way of rotting from the inside. That derivatives report? It wasn't just fudged. It was a bomb, ticking away in the firm's vaults. And I had the detonator, a hidden backup drive, tucked in a safety deposit box uptown, every email, every altered line of code. Revenge isn't a dish. It's a slow poison you brew in the quiet hours. By morning, I decided, not quick and dirty, but surgical. Harlan thought he was untouchable, flipping alliances like a poker pro, charming the board one day, leaking dirt on rivals the next. But I knew his tells. The twitch in his jaw when he lied. The way he'd ghost you after using your soul for leverage. First move, the fire. Not to hurt anyone. Harlan's early riser routine was legendary, but to send a message. As the car blazed, I texted Voss from a burner. They fired the wrong one. Check your statements. The fallout was poetry. By 10 a.m., Voss was on the warpath, pulling assets worth millions. Clients I'd nurtured like houseplants started wilting Sterling's garden. Harlan called an all-hands, his voice cracking over the intercom like a bad radio signal. I listened from a diner in Queens, eggs over easy going cold. Internal matter, he bullshitted. Business as usual. But it wasn't. Not anymore. I went underground after that, crashing with Lila in her Brooklyn walk-up while she shot me worried glances over her morning yoga. Mom, this isn't you. Walk away. Walk away. After he stole my name, my legacy? No. I needed intel, so I tapped my old network. The secretaries, the IT grunts, the janitors who see everything. Turns out, Harlan's flips weren't just professional. He'd been skimming from the Voss fund for years, funneling cash to a mistress in the Hamptons, some Botox trophy half his age. And the kicker? That whistleblower tip? It came from inside. Harlan himself, looping back to cover his tracks. The plan crystallized over takeout lo mein. Expose him, but not clean. Make it messy. Make it hurt where it counts. His pride, his family, his facade. I started small. Anonymous posts on Glassdoor, detailing toxic leadership, with just enough truth to sting. Then, deeper, hacking his calendar. Easy. After 24 years, I knew every password pattern. I booked him for a diversity seminar in Newark, his personal hell, during a crucial client dinner. He showed up late, reeking of train sweat, while Voss's lawyers circled like sharks. But Harlan was cunning, always had been. He smelled the smoke, figuratively this time, and started countermeasures. Private investigators tailing me, NDAs shoved at old colleagues. One night, as I slipped into a dive bar on the Lower East Side for a meet with a disgruntled ex-analyst, a goon cornered me in the alley. Big guy, cheap cologne, brass knuckles glinting under the sodium lamps. Back off, Hale, or it's not just your job on the line. I need him in the jewels, grabbed his phone, unlocked, the fool, and ran. That device. Goldmine. Texts to Harlan. She's onto the skim. Need to bury her deeper. Deeper. Like the secret I'd carried for him all those years. In '08, it wasn't just the report. Harlan had cooked the books to hide his own insider trades, tipping off a buddy at Lehman before the collapse. I knew, buried the evidence, took the heat when auditors knocked. For love? Loyalty? Stupidity? Now it festered. I could go to the feds, end him in orange, but that was too merciful. No, I wanted him to watch his world unravel thread by thread. Weeks blurred into a haze of cat and mouse. I dyed my hair blonde. Ironic, since Harlan always said brunettes suited me, and rented a studio in Harlem under a fake name. Lila visited, her eyes pleading. Dad's asking about you. Her dad, my ex, the accountant who bailed when the hours got long. Tell him I'm redecorating my life. But inside, doubt not. Was this revenge or madness? Every mirror showed a stranger, lines etched deeper, hands trembling from too much caffeine and not enough sleep. The turning point came at the firm's holiday gala, that glittering farce at the plaza where egos outshone the chandeliers. I crashed it. Of course, sequin dress from a thrift shop, fake invite scanned from the dark web. Harlan was there, arm around his wife, Evelyn, the ice queen who'd pretended not to know about us back in the day. He spotted me across the ballroom, champagne flute frozen mid-sip. Our eyes locked, and for a second, I saw the old Harlan, the charmer, the partner, flicker through the mask. Nova, he hissed, cornering me by the coat check. What the hell are you doing? His breath was scotch sweet, eyes darting like a cornered rat. I smiled, slow and sharp. Reminding you, Harlan, about trust. I slipped him a USB drive, disguised as a brooch pin. Watch it later. With Evelyn. It held clips, audio of his Hamptons calls, bank transfers to ER. Evelyn's initials, but not her account. The skim wasn't for the mistress. It was for a slush fund to buy Evelyn's silence on his affairs. Flip number 1. He'd been playing her too. He paled, but recovered quick, always did. You're bluffing. This ends now. He grabbed my wrist, hard enough to bruise, and for a heartbeat, I flashed back to '08, his hands on me in the rain, promising forever. Then security swarmed, but I twisted free, laughing as I melted into the crowd. That night, the USB went viral, leaked to a finance subreddit, anonymized but unmistakable. By morning, Evelyn filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable deceit. Harlan's board seat? Teetering. But he didn't break. Oh no. Harlan Knox was a survivor, flipping the narrative like a pro wrestler. Press conference the next day. Personal matters aside, Sterling and Knox remains committed to integrity. He blamed rogue elements, me, implied, and doubled down on loyalty purges. My old allies got pink slips. Lila's internship offer vanished. It got personal. A brick through my window with a note. Stop, or the girl pays. Rage boiled over. I escalated. Using the goon's phone, I traced Harlan's offshore accounts, shell companies in the Caymans, laundered through Voss's fund. One call to the IRS tip line, and the feds bit. Raids hit the firm mid-December, agents in windbreakers swarming like locusts. Harlan lawyered up, but the damage stuck. Clients fled, stock plummeted 40%. I watched from a park bench in Central Park, snow dusting my coat, feeling the first crack in my armor. This wasn't just revenge, it was demolition. And in the rubble, what was left of me? Christmas Eve, Lila dragged me to her place for eggnog and forced cheer. Mom, enough. He's ruined. But was he? Harlan texted from a blocked number. Meet me. The office. Midnight. In this. Trap? Maybe. But the pull was magnetic. I went, bundled against the sleet, the city a ghost town of twinkling lights and hollow joy. The office loomed dark, a skeleton of my old life. Harlan waited his office, decanter open, 2 glasses poured. Nova. No fight in his voice, just weariness. You win. He slid papers across the desk, my reinstatement, back pay, his resignation. Take it. For old times. I laughed, bitter as the bourbon. Old times. You buried me alive, Harlan. For what? A corner suite and a view. He sighed, rubbing his temples. New lines there, gray at the temples. I was scared. 08, it broke me. You were the strong one. I couldn't lose it all. Vulnerability? Or another flip. I sipped, the burn steadying me. The skim? Evelyn. Desperation. His eyes met mine raw. I covered for you too, you know. That report. I shredded it to protect us both. Lie? Truth? The line blurred. We talked. Hours. Really. Peeling back layers like onion skin. The betrayal wasn't one act. It was a tapestry of choices, mine included. I'd enabled him, covered his sins, because loving the idea of us blinded me to the man. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving. Sirens again, not mine this time. Feds at the door, Voss's lawyers behind them. Harlan stood, straightening his tie. Go, he said. I'll handle it. And in that moment, the twist hit. The whistleblower wasn't him. It was me, or rather, a version of me. Years ago, paranoid, I'd set up an auto tip to the SEC if certain files moved. My own safeguard, backfiring now, dragging us both down. I'd booby-trapped my own grave. I ran, but not far. Arrest came at Penn Station, cuffs cold against my wrists. Harlan? He took the fall, pleading out to fraud, 5 years in white-collar purgatory. Sterling folded, clients scattered to boutique firms. Me? Community service, a slap for the fire. Arson with intent to intimidate, they called it. Lila visited in holding, eyes fierce. You okay, Mom? Was I? The revenge tasted like ash. Harlan wrote from prison. We were both the villain. Forgive. I burned the letter, but kept the signature, proof we were real once. Now, a year on, I'm Nova Hale again. Consultant from a co-working space in Bushwick, building slow, clients trickling in who remember my name. The skyline still mocks me some nights, but I've got Lila's laugh, a decent Merlot, and the knowledge that trust isn't given, it's earned, then guarded with teeth. Harlan? Out in 3 for good behavior, last I heard. If our paths cross, I'll buy him coffee. Black, no sugar. And we'll see who flips first. The coffee shop on Bleecker Street smelled like regret and overbrewed beans. The kind of place where trust fund kids nursed lattes while plotting their next startup flop. I nursed a black drip, staring at the steam curl like smoke signals from a battlefield I'd barely escaped. A year out of the cuffs, and the scars itched, phantom cuffs on wrists that healed too slow. Lila thought I was healing, quoting some self-help podcast about radical forgiveness. Radical my ass. Harlan was out, walking the streets of this godforsaken city like he hadn't lit the match that burned my world. It started innocent enough, a client referral from an old Sterling contact, some mid-level exec at a fintech upstart named Apex. Nova Hale? The fixer? We need someone who knows where the bodies are buried. I laughed it off over Zoom, but took the gig. Due diligence on a merger, nothing glamorous. Spreadsheets, regulatory hurdles, the dull throb of corporate hygiene. But on day 3, digging through Apex's acquisition target, a boutique advisory called Knox Ventures, Harlan's name popped up like a bad penny. Co-founder. Silent partner. The man couldn't stay buried if you nailed the coffin shut. My stomach twisted, that old betrayal bubbling up like bad takeout. Knox Ventures, sleek website, buzzwords about disruptive ethics, that made me snort. Harlan's fingerprints everywhere. The mission statement echoed our late-night rants from '05, back when we dreamed of a firm that put people over profits. Hypocrite. I called in a favor from my network, that shadowy web of ex-Sterling ghosts who'd scattered like roaches. Dig, I said. Everything. What came back wasn't dirt, it was a landslide. Harlan hadn't just survived prison, he'd thrived. Parole sweetened with a book deal, ghost-written sob story, from boardroom to bars, a Wall Street reckoning, TEDx talks on redemption arcs, even a podcast sniffing for Spotify cash. Knox Ventures? His phoenix, funded by venture vultures who'd bet on his infamy. And the secret? Buried deeper than before. During his bid, he'd flipped on bigger fish, SEC insiders, rival CEOs, trading testimony for a reduced sentence. But the real bomb, Voss's son, not dead in Nam. A myth Harlan spun to guilt me into loyalty. The kid lived, changed his name, and now? He was Harlan's silent backer, nursing a grudge against Sterling for abandoning his old man. Betrayal squared. I'd carried that ghost for decades, signing off on falsified docs because Harlan whispered, Voss needs this, for his boy. Lies on lies. Rage simmered, but I played it cool. Met Harlan by accident, at an industry mixer in the village. Me in a pantsuit that hid the extra 10 pounds from stress eating, him in bespoke wool, looking like he'd aged in dog years, but wore it like a badge. Nova. His smile was all teeth, no warmth. We air-kissed, the scent of his cologne, same as always, vetiver and lies. Hitting me like a gut punch. Heard you're freelancing. Good for you. Small talk flowed like cyanide. Weather, markets, how's Lila? I probed gentle, the merger is cover. Knox Ventures folding into Apex? Smart play. His eyes flickered. That tell, the jaw twitch. Yeah, well, second acts, right? That night, alone in my Bushwick loft, exposed brick hiding the cracks, I pieced it. Harlan wasn't just rebuilding. He was rewriting me out entirely. In his book, I was the ambitious colleague whose shortcuts forced my hand. Me, the villain again. No mention of the skim, the fire, the rain-soaked nights. I fired up my laptop, fingers flying. Anonymous review on his podcast. Charming grift from a con who can't spell contrition. Petty? Sure. But it lit the fuse. Escalation came swift. I leaked the Voss Sun docs to a financial blogger, redacted, just enough to question Harlan's ethical pivot. Twitter, X, whatever, erupted. Harlan hoax trending, memes of him in stripes photoshopped onto Monopoly boards. He retaliated, of course. A cease and desist from his shark lawyers, accusing me of defamation with intent to harass. Harassment? After he bricked my window? I countersued, pro bono from an ACLU type who smelled a Me Too angle in our history. The deposition was a circus, sterile conference room in Midtown, Harlan across the table, Evelyn's divorce lawyer glaring like I'd stolen her Birkin. Ms. Hale, isn't it true you initiated the falsification in '08? His attorney, a weasel in pinstripes, leaned in. I stared Harlan down, voice steady as the subway rumbled below. No, but I covered for someone who did. Someone who promised partnership, then pinned it on me to save his skin. Harlan shifted, flipping to contrite. Nova, we both made mistakes. Let's not drag this out. Mistakes. Like calling my daughter to sob about family pressures when his world cracked. Lila confronted me after. He called Mom. Said you're hurting because you're hurt. Is that true? I wanted to scream, to shatter the illusion, but all I had was silence. That night, I drowned it in gin, waking to a voicemail from Apex. Merger's off. Harlan's poisoning the well. Poison. Fitting. I went nuclear. Tracked the sun, now Ethan Voss, tech bro in Silicon Alley, all beards and Bitcoin. Met him at a rooftop bar in Flatiron, city lights winking like conspirators. Your dad's ghost haunts me, I said, sliding him a folder. Harlan's prison letters, pleading for funds, calling Ethan the key to my redemption. The kid's face crumpled, Betrayal echoed. He said you were the liar. Flip number 2. Ethan pulled funding, Knox Ventures hemorrhaging red like a stuck pig. Harlan cornered me outside my deposition, rain slicking the sidewalk, umbrellas blooming like black flowers. What do you want, Nova? My head. His voice cracked, not the boardroom baritone, but something raw, human. I stepped close, breath mingling in the chill. I want to trust back. You took it. For a second, his hand brushed mine, echo of a one, and I almost broke. Almost forgave. Then his phone buzzed. Lawyer, no doubt, scheming the next pivot. I walked away, but he followed, words tumbling. The sun. I needed leverage. Like you needed the fire. Confession? Trap? The line blurred in the downpour. Cops rolled up, anonymous tip his or mine, cuffing him for witness tampering. Me? Walked free, but the weight settled heavier. Revenge wasn't liberation, it was chains, linking us tighter. Lila found me at dawn, soaked and shivering on her stoop. Mom, stop. This cycle, it's killing you. She was right. Harlan's trial loomed. Perjury now, thanks to Ethan's testimony. I could testify, bury him for good. Or, let it go. The twist gnawed. What if his mistakes were mine too? Covering, enabling, igniting. No heroes here, just survivors clawing the same dirt. As snow dusted the city, I deleted the files, uncorked wine, and called Voss Sr., the real one, frail but fierce. Nova? Heard you're stirring pots. We talked hours, ghosts laid bare. He forgave, or tried. Me? I booked a flight to Lila's cabin upstate, wood smoke and quiet. Harlan's verdict came via news alert. Guilty, but suspended sentence. Community service. Irony bit sweet. Now, in that bleaker cafe, a new client slides in. Old sterling face, eyes hopeful. Nova Hale? Still fixing. I nod, sip my coffee. The scars? Faded, but there. Trust? Rebuilt, brick by wary brick. If Harlan walks by, I'll nod. No fire this time. Just embers, warm enough to thaw. Embers, yeah. That's what I told myself as spring thawed the Hudson, turning the city into a pressure cooker of deals and delusions. Bushwick buzzed with my little consultancy. Nova Hale Solutions, logo a phoenix because irony's my love language. Clients came cautious, whispers of my edgy past adding cachet in this town that chews up saints and spits out legends. Lila beamed. Proud of you, Mom. While dating some barista with sleeve tattoos and existential dread. Life edged toward normal, whatever that mirage looks like after you've danced with devils. But Harlan Knox? He was the shadow that wouldn't fade. Suspended sentence meant he slunk back to the fringes, consulting gigs under aliases, schmoozing at after-hours spots where the desperate drink. I spotted him once at a rooftop soiree in Soho, nursing a scotch, charming a cluster of wide-eyed MBAs with tales of lessons learned. Our eyes met across the crowd. He raised his glass, a ghost of a smirk. I turned away, heart hammering like I'd run the Verrazano. Not fear, unfinished business. It reignited over a nothing job, vetting a startup for a venture fund, routine as flossing. Their CFO? A Harlan plant, funneling advisory fees back to Knox Ventures 2.0, rebranded as Ethos Partners. The skim again, evolved, laundering through NFTs this time, because of course. I could have flagged it quiet, collected my check. But the folder on my desk mocked me. Printouts of his book, dog-eared, passages underlined where he painted me as the fierce but flawed, cautionary tale. Flawed. Try forged. This time, no fire. Strategy. I embedded myself, took the gig as interim advisor, close enough to smell the rot. Harlan knew I was coming. He left breadcrumbs, emails with my old sign-off, Nova's notes. Taunt or truce. Day one in their glassbox office overlooking the High Line, he dropped by, casual as a summer storm. Nova Hale, slumming it with the disruptors? His laugh was forced, lines around his eyes deeper, but the suit? Tailored sin. We circled like sharks in chum. Heard Ethos is the next big thing, I said, flipping through reports that screamed fraud. He leaned on my desk, too close. Learned from the best. You always said innovate or die. Echo of us, weaponized. I pressed. Voss Jr. funding this. After you lied about his ghost. His jaw twitched. Tell number one. Family reconciliations. Complicated. Flip. He played the victim card. Prison changes you, Nova. I wrote the book on it. That night, I met my contact, a hacker kid from Red Hook, all energy drinks and ethical gray zones. Got their servers. He grinned over virtual coffee. Dumps flowed. Emails tying Harlan to insider tips on Apex's merger, the one I'd tanked last year. Twist. He'd flipped on me again, feeding the board dirt during my countersuit, painting me as unstable. The fire was just the start, his notes read. Rage? Sure. But colder now, calculated. I dripped it slow. First, a whisper to the fund's lead. Irregularities in ethos due diligence. They paused the wire, Harlan scrambling. He called. Unlisted number. Voice velvet over gravel. Dinner? Olives. Neutral ground. Trap? Temptation? I went. Red dress like armor. City lights blurring as taxis honked symphonies of chaos. Olives was old New York. Dim booths. Sinatra croon. Waiters who remembered your poison. Harlan waited with Chianti and calamari. Looking almost human. Gray hair slicked. No tie. Like he'd traded the boardroom for vulnerability. Truce. He poured, hand steady. We ate, talked shop, markets, millennials, the gig economy's soul suck. Then, the pivot. I miss it, Nova. Us against them. His eyes searched mine, that old spark flickering. What if we team up? Ethos needs your touch. Laughter bubbled, hysterical, wine-fueled. Team up? After you buried me? I laid it out. The leaks, the flips, the sun. He didn't deny, just sighed. Survival. Like you with the report. Touché. The meal stretched, confessions spilling like the candle wax. He admitted the skim was for his sick sister, Evelyn's lie, his cover. I flipped to protect what was left. And me? You were the one constant. Firing you. Gutted me more than the feds. Wine blurred edges. His hand covered mine. Warm, familiar. For a heartbeat, I leaned in. The pull of what-ifs. The ghost of rain and promises. Then reality snapped. Lila's voice in my head. Cycle, Mom. I pulled back. Too late, Harlan. Outside, rain slicked the streets again, cabs splashing gutters. He grabbed my arm. Gentle, pleading. Don't end us like this. Us. As if. I hailed a cab. Left him in the downpour. Heart pounding with a what did almost do. Back home, the hacker's update waited. Full breach. I held the kill switch. One email to the SEC, and ethos imploded. But doubt crept, insidious. Was this revenge or destruction? Harlan's gutted. Truth or ploy? The board I'd once trusted flipped on me. Now, was I flipping on myself? Lila sensed it, cornering me over brunch in her sunlit kitchen. Avocado toast going cold. You're spiraling again. Him. I nodded, words tumbling. The dinner, the almost. She hugged fierce. You're enough, Mom. Without his shadow. Enough. The word anchored. I hit send. Not full blast, but targeted. Voss Jr., with proof of Harlan's latest con. The kid flipped spectacular, yanking funds, going public in a blistering LinkedIn post. Ethos exposed trended, Harlan's redemption arc torched. He didn't fight dirty this time. A letter arrived, handwritten on cheap stock. You win again. But ask yourself, who are we without the fight? Mailed from a halfway house upstate, postmark shaky. Prison echoes. I burned it, but the ash stuck. Summer hit humid, clients booming as my rep solidified. The whistleblower who bites back. Lila moved in. Her barista dumped for a gallery curator. Progress. One night. Thunder rumbling like '08. I dreamed of Harlan. Us in the office. Rain lashing, hands entwined. Woke sweating, the line between hate and haunt blurred. The climax brewed at Ethos's relaunch. Irony's encore. A gala in Chelsea with craft cocktails and crypto brothers. I crashed, uninvited, black gown like midnight. Harlan on stage, mic in hand, spinning silk from straw. From ashes. Our eyes locked mid-speech. He faltered, words dying. Backstage chaos. Investors fleeing, sirens wailing as feds. My tip, Voss Jr.'s push, swarmed. He found me in the green room, doors slamming, face ashen. Nova, why? No fight left. Just defeat. I stepped close, voice low. Because you forgot trust isn't a transaction. His hand reached, plea or poison, and I saw it. The flip, always the flip. But this time, I didn't swing. Go, I said. Start over. For real. He left, shadows swallowing him. Me? Walked into the night. Rain cleansing, free or fractured. Hard to tell. The twist? In his wake, a flash drive. Backups of my old files, the '08 report intact. Leverage he'd held, now gifted. Trust? Or trap reloaded? Debate raged in my head as subways rumbled home. Hero? Villain? Or just human, scarred and standing? Lila waited with tea, no questions. Dawn broke clear, and for once, I breathed easy. Embers, yes, but mine to tend. Dawn's easy breaths turned ragged by fall, leaves carpeting the parks like confetti from a funeral I couldn't attend. Nova Hail Solutions hummed, 6 figures in retainers, a junior analyst kid named Jax who idolized my badass origin story, without knowing the half. Lila thrived, curating shows that sold for peanuts but fed her soul. Surface calm, but undercurrents pulled. Harlan's flash drive sat in my safe. Unopened, a Pandora's box humming with what-ifs. Trust it? Trash it? The debate kept me up, staring at water stains on my ceiling like Rorschach tests for the damned. It cracked open over coffee with Jax, eager pup, all algorithms and ambition. Boss, ethos is circling back. Harlan's pitching a collab. Collab. The word soured my Americano. Harlan, ever the Hydra, had slithered into a pivot, boutique crisis management, consulting firms on reputation rehab. His shtick? I lived the scandal. Let me fix yours. Clients lapped it, schadenfreude cells. And now, sniffing my turf. I waved it off, but curiosity, or masochism bit. Googled him. Fresh headshots, softer lighting, a tagline. Redemption is a choice. Gag. But the site linked to testimonials, one from Evelyn. Harlan's growth inspires. Growth? After she clawed half his assets in the divorce? Flip numero whatever. I cracked the drive that night. Wine glass, sweating condensation. Files spilled. Not just '08, the works. Our emails, flirty to furious. His skim ledgers, my cover memos. Even a video, grainy cell cam of him in stripes. Ranting to a bunkmate about the one who got away. The one. Me. Heart-twisted pity? Or the old pull? I forwarded snippets to Jax. Vet this. Quiet. Kid came back pale. It's leverage gold, Nova. He could bury competitors. Or you. Exactly. Harlan wasn't done. He was reloading, using our history as ammo for his comeback. Rage flickered, but tempered now, forged in too many dawns. No blaze this time. Precision. I set the hook. Emailed ethos from a ghost account. Interested in rehab services. Nova Hail referral. He bit fast, meeting at a neutral spot, that same Bleecker cafe where embers first stirred. Autumn light, slanted gold, leaves skittering like escaped secrets. Harlan arrived early, table claimed, 2 black steaming. Nova. No surprise, just resignation laced with hope. We sat, steam veiling his face. Collab. I started, direct as a subpoena. He chuckled low. Or truce. Your name carries weight now, the survivor. Flattery, his opener. I leaned in. And yours? The con who cries wolf. We danced. Him pitching synergy, me probing cracks. Evelyn's testimonial bought. His twitch. Earned. Therapy, amends. Truth? The drive said otherwise, texts begging her silence for a cut. The pivot came mid-sip. The drive, he said. Use it. Or burn it. Your call. Gift or grenade. I pressed why. Eyes met raw? Because fighting you. It's all I know. But losing you? Worse. Confession hung, heavy as the espresso grind. For a second, the cafe faded, back to a one, rain, promises. Then Lila's voice. Enough. I stood. Not losing. Leaving. Walked out, leaves crunching under heels, his weight, lost in traffic roar. But leaving? Lie. The drive burned in my bag, decisions piling like unpaid bills. Jax pushed. Leak it. End him. Lila pulled. Let go. Live. Debate tore me. Readers of my life, if it were a book, would split. Mercy or justice. I chose middle. Mailed it to Voss Sr., anonymous, with a note. Truth sets free. Or not. Old man called next day, voice creakier, but steel. Nova? Did this come from you? Pause. Burned it. Boy needed to see, but not to hate. Wisdom I envied. Harlan escalated, of course. His pitch to my clients. Avoid the hail curse. Instability breeds downfall. Smears, subtle as smock. One bailed, citing reputational risk. Rage peaked. That night, I drove to his halfway house upstate, Adirondacks looming like judgmental elders. Gravel crunched under tires, moons silvering the pines. He stepped out, robe askew, surprise softening to sorrow. Nova, here. We walked trails, flashlights bobbing, words spilling in the dark. You flipped again, I accused. Smearing me for gigs. He stopped, beam catching tears. Fear. You're rising. I'm clawing. Raw, no polish. He admitted the drive, insurance. Against myself, mostly. Twist. He'd recorded his rants to stay honest, a confessional for the void. You were my mirror, Nova. Still are. Mirror. Shattered, but reflecting truths. I saw mine. The fire, the leaks, the enables, my flips too. No saints. Dawn broke foggy as we parted, his hand lingering. Truce for real. I nodded maybe. Drove back, city swallowing me, debate raging. Forgiveness fool's gold or freedom's key. Climax hit Thanksgiving. Lila's spread, turkey, and tensions. News alert. Harlan's arrest, SEC sting on ethos. My mail to Voss. It rippled, feds tracing. He called from holding. You're doing? Voice broke. Hours. I hung up, gut churning. Lila found me on the fire escape, pie cooling inside. You okay? No. Yes. The line blurred. Twist landed via courier. His will, preemptive, naming me beneficiary to a trust. For the years I stole. Millions? No. Artifacts. Our old desk plaque. A '08 raincoat. Letters unsent. Build better. Debate exploded. Accept and chain myself? Reject and what? Hate forever? I chose. Donated it all. Auction for women's shelters. Harlan plea bargained. House arrest. Me? Expanded the firm. Jack's promoted. Lila's show sold out. Winter whispered peace, but embers glowed. If he calls, I'll answer. Not for him. For the woman I became in the fire. Winter's whisper turned to a howl by New Year's. Blizzards blanketing the city in white lies that buried sins, but not scars. Nova Hail Solutions crested 7 figures. A corner office in Dumbo with skyline views that mocked less fortunate ghosts. Jax ran ops like a mini-me, all hustle and heart. Lila's gallery hummed. Her curator a keeper who grilled me on 70s punk over dim sum. Surface? Polished. Under? The trust Harlan left simmered, a philosophical grenade I defused by giving away. But giving doesn't erase, it echoes. Harlan's house arrest played out in tabloid snippets. Fallen tycoon tends victory garden. Photos of him in LL Bean, coaxing tomatoes from Jersey soil like pennants. Evelyn visited, per the rags. Reconciliation rumors swirling sweeter than strudel. Flip or fold. I avoided the feeds, but fate's a bitch with a grudge. February gig. Crisis comms for a pharma merger. Targets a rival firm Harlan consulted. Inevitable collision. The client meet was Tribeca Loft, exposed beams, and overpriced charcuterie. Harlan there, ankle monitor disguised under slacks, pitching like a prophet. Ethical pivots save souls, and stocks. Our eyes locked, he faltered mid-slide. Post-meet, he cornered me in the stairwell, echoey and intimate. Nova, the trust you donated. Voice soft, no edge. I nodded, wary. Couldn't own ghosts. He smiled, genuine, cracked. Smart. I'm trying. Trying. We talked, brief, charged. His garden therapy, my expansions, Lila's latest coup. Proud of her, he said, and meant it, no barbs. As I left, he slipped a card. Coffee? When the tether snaps. Parole hearing in spring. I pocketed it, heard a drum solo. Spring bloomed treacherous, cherry blossoms mocking the rot. Lila noticed my drift. Him again. Brunch confessional, mimosas fizzing. Not revenge. Reckoning. She squeezed my hand. Don't lose you in it. You. The prize I'd almost pawned. Parole granted, shocker. First free footfall, he texted. Bleaker, noon. I went, sun high, cafe unchanged. Harlan waited. Casual chinos, no suit armor. Free bird. We ordered. Blacks, habit, and unpacked the years. His flips? Cowardice cloaked as cunning. Mine? Strength twisted to spite. No blame, just bones laid bare. The '08 secret? We both bore it, he said. I pinned, you carried. Truth settled, heavy but healing. But cunning dies hard. Mid-convo, his phone buzzed. Evelyn, timing suspect. Still playing? I probed. He sighed. Done flipping. Swear. Oh, for oil. Debate internal. Trust the man or the monster. I chose test. Collab for real? My firm, your insights. Supervised. His eyes lit. Hope, not hunger. Yes. It worked. Uneasy alchemy. Harlan as advisor. Probationary. Memos on ethics. Client pitches with my veto. Jax side-eyed. Lila grilled. But results spoke. Deals closed. Reps burnished. Summer sizzled. Rooftop BBQs where he'd charm without conquering. One night, fireflies dancing over the East River, he pulled me aside. Nova. Us. Question hung. Electric. I paused, skyline glittering judgment. The twist? In his eyes, no game. Just a man, flawed as me. Maybe, I whispered. Kiss followed, tentative, tasting of second chances and scotch. Lila met him later, over dinner, wary nod, but thaw. Voss Sr. called. Heard you're partnering. Watch your back. I did. Always. Fall brought the storm, literal, hurricane whipping the coast, power out, city primal. Harlan's place flooded. He crashed my loft, candles flickering like old office nights. We talked dawn through dusk, betrayals unpacked, secrets spilled. The ultimate flip? I tipped myself in '08. To force your hand. Keep you close. Madness. Method? Loved you too fierce, too wrong. Confession cracked me. Tears hot, embrace fiercer. Morning cleared skies, but clouds lingered. SEC probe resurfaced. Anonymous, dredging the drive's ghosts. Harlan took point. My mess. I'll own. Testimony voluntary. Flips final. Him burying himself to free us. Verdict. Fines, no bars. Me? Testified truth, no varnish. Courtroom drama. Headlines howling. Wall Street's toxic tango ends in truce. Debate raged online. Nova versus Harlan camps splitting hairs. Empowerment or enabler? Heroic or hypocritical? I scrolled once, laughed, logged off. Ending? Not tidy. Harlan and I? Partners, cautious, business first, hearts trailing. Lila walked me down the aisle of a civil ceremony, small, sun-dappled Central Park. Vows simple, no more burying. Bill. Now, winter again, snow soft on the Williamsburg Bridge. Firm thrives, Jax engaged, Lila expecting, grandbaby hail knocks? Time tells. Harlan gardens our balcony, tomatoes defiant. Trust? Earned daily, fragile as frost. The revenge? It started fire, ended forge, hammering us sharper, if scarred. Was it happy? Tragic? You decide. Me? I sip black coffee, watch the skyline, and whisper thanks. To the betrayal that broke me open. To the man who flipped last, into light. Embers to flame, after all.